Hello and welcome to the Monday evening.
Love ball like I do. After Dark, it's a must listen.
It's where I go to get my hoops fixed.
This is Field of 68 After Dark.
Welcome in, Field of 68 After Dark. The Sweet 16 is set, and it's got a lot of teams from the SEC in it, including the Kentucky Wildcats. We got a lot to get to today on the show. We're here live from Mandalay Bay, beautiful Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. One final night before everybody gets home to kiss their wives and tell them how much they missed them or didn't. I don't know. It's up to you guys. You do whatever you want. A lot to get to. Rob Doster, Jeff Goodman, John Martin. Story of the day, Kentucky, first-year coach, Mark Pope in the Sweet 16. Rousing victory, dominant victory in many ways over Illinois. Rob Doster, start with you. What a year for Mark Pope.
Unbelievable year, unbelievable win. I think Kentucky fans can breathe a sigh of relief being able to get into the Sweet 16, the same round that John Calipari, their former coach, is in. I thought today really showcased what Kentucky has developed into on the defensive end of the floor. I thought Lamont Butler and Otega Owe did a really good job slowing down Will Riley and Kasparis Yakashonis. The play of Amari Williams, the backdoor cuts that he could throw, pulling Ivicic away from the basket. And, Kobe Bryant in that second half, man, they went to those the high ball screens. Illinois was in that deep drop, and they just killed them over and over and over again. I think Kentucky hit 15 of their first 19 shots in the second half. Really, really impressive performance, Chef.
26 points off turnovers for Kentucky. That was kind of the difference, and that's been Illinois' Achilles heel all season long, right? When they haven't played well, they've turned it over, and Kentucky capitalized, and Lamont Butler looked healthy. Like, this was the healthiest I think we've seen Lamont Butler look in a month.
He made 3 threes, Jeff.
I know.
He made 3 threes.
Yeah, I feel like he had been tentative the last few weeks to shoot the ball, and tonight he made that first one. And I think that gave him confidence to take the other ones. And they're not going anywhere. They're not going to Final Four without Lamont Butler. I said this all year. He's their most important player because, as you said, of what he does in the defensive end. It's contagious. When you have him out there, to be honest, it is contagious for other players where it's like, you watch that dude playing that hard when he's that banged up, you have to defend.
Yes, it sets the tone on that end. But there's also the point guard element. What do you say? A team can't make the Final Four if they don't have
a point guard.
And Lamont Butler's Kentucky's point guard. In the first half, we saw so much of it where he's coming off those ball screens, keeping somebody on his hip and able to make a decision. He was so good today, John. And that's what they had been missing.
No, and again, I just think this has been, I said this on Field of 68 in January. The job Mark Pope is doing is worthy of Coach of the Year discussion, and obviously that's an award that's probably already been decided. But, he didn't have Kirk Kriisa. He didn't have Jackson Robinson. He had one shoulder, Lamont Butler. I just think for him, Jeff, this is such a referendum, and a statement on, hey, what's Kentucky basketball going to be for the next 4 to 5 years? What's the future of Kentucky basketball going to be? Because a lot of people, including myself, we doubted it. We did. We said, you guys run off Cal. Do you really know what you're doing? And in fairness, Cal's in the Sweet 16 with you, right? Cal's here too. But I think you showed that although the way the sausage is made, so to speak, might be a little different, it's still really, really damn good in Lexington, Kentucky under Mark Pope.
Yeah, because they won the press conference, and that's great. They went crazy, right? Everybody was there for the intro, but I think still the fan base was kind of, a little bit worried about where this would be with a guy that hadn't won an NCAA tournament game as a head coach. He did a great job last year at BYU, but let's face it, they didn't know what this was
Right.
going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And in year one, to do what he's done to kind of get the momentum there, to get the fan base all in, because they were hungry. And now you do the one thing that John Calipari hadn't been able to do at Kentucky in recent years, and that was to be relevant when it mattered most, which was in the NCAA tournament.
And that's where they are right now, in the dance, in the Sweet 16. They just knocked off Illinois. And here's the thing about it is, like, this isn't over. This run for them is not over. They're playing a Tennessee team that they've beaten twice already this season. I know the saying, John, is that it's really hard to beat a team twice or 3 times in the same season. But
I'd rather be the team that won the 2 games.
yes.
Because they won the 2 games.
Yes.
Like, I'd rather be that team. And we've seen that. We've seen 3-game sweeps this year of teams that play, whether it was in the conference tournament or what have you.
Well, they're healthy now, too. I mean, that's the
they're
beauty right now.
They're not as healthy as
Well,
they could be.
They're as healthy as they're going to be because they knew they were going to be without Jackson
Yeah,
Robinson and Kirk
They're as
Kriisa.
healthy as they're going to be.
This
Week
is
9, so they were
right.
not going to be healthy.
But, even some of the guys, you look at what Colin Chandler did today.
He was
Came
huge.
up the bench,
He was
made
huge.
a big 3 early.
Logo 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Noah's giving him decent minutes. And I thought if you had to play those guys this year, you were going to be in major, major trouble. And Mark Pope has shown the ability to take those hits and adapt and have to play different lineups and still win enough. They were a 3 seed this year. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
Think about how impressive that is with all the injuries, with all the new players, him being in a new spot to be a 3 seed and now in the Sweet 16. It's unbelievable.
Well, look, in theory, it's unbelievable. This year, I don't think anything is unbelievable. I saw a stat. CBS put this out. There are 4 coaches that are at new programs this year that made the Sweet 16 with a team that didn't make the NCAA tournament last season, right? Really impressive.
Yep.
Most that's ever happened.
Yeah, and I think, again, for Mark, like, the main criticism was he never won a tournament game, right? He came to BYU, he never won a tournament game. And he's done that twice now.
Because he wasn't at the
That's
top
why-
of Kentucky's, the fan base's list. He wasn't. Who they
Yeah.
want? Scott Drew, right?
Yeah.
Scott Drew, that was the guy they really wanted. He turned him down. Like this was a guy that still they wanted to believe in.
That's the irony of all this, right? The irony is that, think about that coaching search. Oh, we're getting Scott Drew. No, you're not. Oh, we're getting Dan Hurley. No, you're not. There was someone else on that list before that too.
It just shows you that it doesn't matter. Like the 7th choice sometimes ends up being the best. Never even looked at it.
Yeah.
Right. Never even looked at it.
Not quite 7.
Sometimes the 7th choice is like the guy and everybody pans it and he ends up being really good.
I don't know. I think, honestly, if we're going to take a lesson out of it, and we'll get to the SEC piece of it, because a lot of people were talking shit about the SEC. Not necessarily talking shit, but like they kind of wondered, like, all right, you were this big bad team that got 14 teams in. How would you show 7 to 16 in the Sweet 16? I think it's a lesson that if you bring BYU, right, Kentucky, if you bring a modern offense, and Coach Doster, you can speak to this a little better than I can.
I thought he was Dr. Doster.
Well, he's all he wears many.
So Dr. Rob,
he wears many hats.
Coach Doster.
We say Coach Pop.
That's Pop.
He does it all. But if you bring a modern offense to this game, and you have the horses, which obviously Kentucky and BYU do, hey, you're going to be in the last 16.
Yeah, 100% on all of that. I think that being able to get guys to buy in and understand what you're doing quickly is part of the way that these guys have had success. We talk about a team like Gonzaga at the start of the year, right? And how, well, this team got off to a hot start and everyone got all over them because they returned 6 of their 7 rotation pieces, and they already knew what was expected of them. They already knew the system. They already knew Mark Few's offense. They already knew all of that stuff. And to be able to take so many new faces and get them, it's not like what Mark Pope does is an easy offense to run, right? It's not like he's out there, and it's not like John Calipari's offense. And I swear I'm not.
Well, you're just saying it's far more simple to be able to pick up and run.
Yes.
And Cal actually, he recruited the right guys for this system this year for his system. Mark Pope threw a bunch of dudes together that were a lot of different types of players.
That was the question we had, right?
Major.
Like before the season started, my single biggest question was, you got 3 guys that are known for their defense. You got a whole bunch of guys that are known for their shooting. How is all of that going to work together? How are you going to be good enough defensively and good enough offensively when there's questions? You know what else we said early in the season? And I was probably the biggest one to blame.
They didn't have a go-to guy.
Do they have a go-to guy? Do they have a star?
They didn't need one.
But
I mean,
always
been
one.
The go-to guy is the system. That's
Brea,
the go-to guy.
It was Owe. It was Brea. It was Lamont Butler. Andrew
for a
Carr.
while.
Andrew Carr did it against Duke.
Yep.
Amari Williams has been a guy you can run offense through. Jackson Robinson, Mississippi State.
You're getting emotional just thinking about how good it is.
My boys are just shot. We've been talking for 40 hours.
He's emotional. He's been in his feelings all day about how good this Kentucky offense is.
Yeah, that's what I was really, really upset about today. Really got emotional about.
And the dad water.
The dad water definitely has got you emotional.
Yes.
Rob's like,
Yes,
I miss my family, but the Kentucky offense will have to hold me over until I get back.
Can I just say real quick, I just want everyone to know that the way that this week played out, we've never seen producer Trevor as happy as he's been this week.
Well,
right
today.
On Friday,
what do you
Friday
mean?
He was in the best mood ever on Friday. On Saturday, he was smiling nonstop the entire day. Right?
Yeah.
We get to Saturday night. Goodman, what happened? He takes $40 out of his pocket,
incredible.
Out of nowhere, just on a whim. I'm going to go play that slot machine right there. Doesn't know how to do it. Puts the money in, hits a couple buttons, wins $450.
Hits a couple buttons, and there's like things all over this slot machine. Like,
yes,
could you figure it out?
I had no idea what was going on.
No idea.
All I know is that he was like
lost 400, and I wouldn't have known the difference.
And so he takes the money.
Yeah,
he goes to bed, and he's got the biggest
thing about Trev.
He's got the biggest smile on his face.
That's what
and then you know what? When was the next time we saw him?
Today, without that smile.
7 o'clock tonight. Right before the show started when he showed up with the equipment.
It was weird, though, because he showed up with like a couple rollies and a couple gold chains. It was like, damn, man, how many slots did you play last night? He must have hit a couple. But, yeah, Trevor's an absolute legend, and it was a great day for Kentucky basketball. Arrow is pointing way up, and obviously based on what they've done against Tennessee, they are clearly live against that team. Now, let's shift to the SEC at large, because they weren't the only SEC team that won today. Chris Beard and the Ole Miss Rebels are in the Sweet 16. If I have this right, I don't think they've ever been in the Elite Eight.
That's correct.
So if they win in the Sweet 16, they will make their first ever Elite Eight in the history of the program.
You know where else he did that?
A lot of places.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. That was the first Elite Eight in their history?
That was his second year at Texas Tech. You know what he did in the third year?
Championship.
Almost won the national title.
Won the national championship.
You know what he was set to do
you guys
at
keep
Texas his second year?
Wow.
Before he got fired? You know what he was on track to maybe do?
That's
certainly go to the
That's up for interpretation.
No, but he had that thing rolling is what I'm saying.
No, look, Chris
give him a year.
Yes.
Give Chris Beard a year and look at what he can do. Because you live in Memphis. How far outside are you from Ole Miss? Oxford?
45 minutes, an hour, yeah.
Okay. Ole Miss
I can feel Chris Beard's greatness from 45 minutes away.
How do you describe the program of Ole Miss over the last 20 years?
Historically?
Since you've been a little kid in diapers.
Non-factor. Right. Irrelevant.
Now, are they relevant?
Rod Barnes was the greatest coach in Ole Miss history before Chris Beard showed up.
That's right.
And Rod Barnes is a legend, but, I mean, it's not like that's on anybody's list of great coaches. So, yeah, I mean, that's not an easy job. It's not. I mean, especially when you're in the region of Memphis. And it's not like Chris Beard has this overwhelming roster of talent. I mean, they're guys they're better than the sum of their parts is kind of how I would describe them, between, Dre Davis and Sean Padula and, their bigs and shocker, Chris Beard's got them playing hard and playing well, and they beat the shit out of Iowa State earlier today.
They did.
Yeah.
That was a little surprising. How they beat Iowa State was shocking to me.
It was, but
come on. They steamrolled them.
They did. I'm not saying
that culture program, just like Ole Miss is right now.
I'm not saying they didn't steamroll them, but I don't think it's that surprising that Ole Miss kind of kicked their ass a little bit. When you have a team that's been dealing with the amount of injuries that Iowa State did, they get down, the heads hang, they know it's over, season's over, and you can just kind of run away with it.
I don't know. I was a little bit surprised by
but hold on. Big picture, the SEC.
7-16.
First time ever. Seven teams from one league have made it to the Sweet 16.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, first
It's
time
a little
ever.
bit different, obviously. You've got expansion.
The leagues are bigger.
You've had expansion,
Yeah.
so you can't, it's not apples to apples.
But I mean,
of what we've been dealing
this
with.
was a proving ground for the SEC to show that you are who you said you were, and they've done that.
Yeah, I mean, all the
almost
big
half the
teams-
tournament now is SEC. I mean, that's that says everything.
I mean, think about this: is you've now only got 4 leagues accounted for now left in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
First time that's ever happened at this point. You've got SEC with 7, Big 10 with 4, Big 12, and Big 10 could get 5.
Do you know
Oregon
who the
wins.
Cinderella?
Arizona's up right now, so Big 12 has 3, could get 4, and then ACC is left with Uno.
Do you know who the Cinderella is right now?
Arkansas, 10 seed.
Cinderella
They're
Cal.
the only double-digit seed.
Cinderella Cal.
Oh, he's going to embrace the
Who
shit out of
who
this,
is ready
isn't
for
he?
Cinderella
We can't
Cal?
win. We're not supposed to
Watch out.
be here.
Watch out.
Mhm.
He's going to do it. He's going to buy
Absolutely.
into all that, isn't he?
Absolutely.
That's a problem for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah.
Texas Tech, I'm sorry. You stepped in it. Because y'all should have never let him have a 10 seed. Y'all should have never let him in the tournament. I mean, Bill Self, you should have never let him win a game.
Yeah.
Rick Pitino, you messed up. I mean, we talked about this before, on one of the various 26 hours we did. Like, this is the moment that Cal lives for. He's going to go in there. He's going to convince those guys that they're like,
You can't win. Everybody says you can't win. Like, nobody's giving you a chance.
He's going to go in there and play the.
He's gonna make up
McLaughlin
quotes.
music. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they're all like forsaken dogs. Like nobody wanted him. Meanwhile, it's a top 15 roster with a top
I know.
15. I mean, it's just
That's the part that's comical about
It
this,
is.
right?
It's
The
comical.
part that's comical is he's still going to have NBA players.
yes.
Right? You look at some of these other rosters, they don't have NBA dudes on their teams, right? Kentucky, we said it. They don't have an NBA guy on their roster.
No.
Cal has that. And now again, some of those guys aren't real NBA players.
Yeah.
Nelly Davis would have went to the NBA last year if he was an NBA player.
Right.
DJ Wagner would have went to. They're not. They're good college players.
Yeah.
They're going to play and make some money for a long period of time. Probably, G League, maybe overseas, whatever it is. But I bet every guy on their roster from 1 to 9 ends up making a lot of money and playing basketball for 10 years, making money playing this game.
Totally. I think it's just so good that somehow both Arkansas and Kentucky won their coaching searches. I didn't think that was possible. I thought
It's
there had
wild
to be a
when-
winner and loser, but somehow they both won.
It's wild when you think about it, right? None of this happens if Eric Musselman doesn't decide that he wants to go
No,
and
you're
live in
right.
Southern California.
That's the loser. Muss is the loser.
And you know what else? That doesn't happen if Andy Enfield doesn't leave USC for SMU.
He
And
lost.
that doesn't happen.
He lost.
Do you remember where we were when we found that out?
Rob Lanier.
We were right over there.
Rob Lanier.
Right over there when
Rob
we found
Lanier,
out that
yeah.
Rob Lanier got
Rob Lanier got
fired.
I do remember.
And
Rob
I
Lanier
remember
got
you got
fired
a
after
phone
1
call.
year, right?
And
Yes.
you go,
And I
Wait.
moved out there.
you go,
yes.
wait.
I was
What?
shocked.
And you run, and then I see
Yes.
it. I get a notification. Rob
right.
Lanier has been fired by SMU.
Yeah, it was right here.
So that led to Andy Enfield getting SMU. That led to Eric Musselman getting USC. Cal leaves for Arkansas. Mark Pope leaves for Kentucky. And Kevin Young gets hired by BYU. All 3 of those programs are in the Sweet 16 with a brand new head coach
Crazy.
because of that carousel right
Crazy.
there.
Let's bottom line this before we go to break on the SEC. Florida, we'll get to. Arkansas, Tennessee,
Well,
Ole Miss.
let's do Florida right now. Are you worried about that performance? Because look, we know how good they are. They made big plays down the stretch, and Walter Clayton did what he had to do
He hit the biggest
late
shot
in
of
that
the day.
game. He hit the biggest shot of the day.
I'm definitely
Multiple
worried about
times.
Florida because I'm worried about Florida. I'm worried about Florida. They
What?
should have lost today.
They played.
should've
UConn
lost
played out of their minds for
I mean, that was their best game.
37 minutes. They played great basketball, probably the best they played. You've seen every game this year. Is that as good as UConn has played all season?
What in the world is he doing?
What's he got?
Why is everybody putting
What's
on
he got
random
here? What are you going to
shirts?
put on?
I'm just going to sit
Oh,
here.
look at him. He's putting on a Florida
What
Gator
in the
shirt.
world?
That's a schmedium
I lost the bet. I gotta pay a bet.
That is
I
insane.
lost the bet.
where everybody's wearing. Why don't you have a
I
Gator
gotta
shirt?
pay a
I
ball.
didn't-
Gotta
I
pay
didn't bet
dues.
anything.
I had to put a Gator shirt on. I lost the bet.
I just had the second half over.
Had to put a Gator shirt on. No, look, UConn. UConn showed up and played a way that I wish we saw them play for a number of games the rest of the season, right? I wish that we saw that effort in Seton Hall. I wish we saw that effort second half against St. John's at home. And if that happens, then I don't think UConn is an 8 seed. And if UConn's not an 8 seed, then we don't have to deal with these assholes in the second round of the NCAA.
It was a hell of a game.
But here,
That was a great game.
but the thing that gives me pause about Florida is they look rattled in the second half when they were down.
Yeah.
They looked like they knew that they were the 1 seed dealing with all of the pressure. And that makes me worried about what happens when they go up against a team that maybe has a little bit more talent. Like, I don't know, the Crab 5 in Maryland. Like, I don't know, someone like an Arkansas or someone like a Texas Tech. So I still think Florida and Duke are the 2 favorites to win this in my mind. The 2 favorites to win this. But I'm leaning more towards Duke after seeing that because what happens if they get down early?
Duke doing this. That's what you do. You trust Duke, Cooper Flag, Proctor, Knipple, all those guys more than you trust those Florida guards.
Yeah, and like with Duke, it's hard to know because when was the last time they were really tested? Like really tested when Cooper was on the floor.
I mean, like, okay, can we talk about just that piece for a minute? The fact that Duke hasn't been tested is a testament to how freaking good they are.
Or how weak the league is.
Like, it's possible.
But in a way,
nobody ever tests
also,
them. Like,
it's also how weak the ACC was. Combination.
Okay, we're past that though, dude. It's March. The tournament started. We're on to the Sweet 16 now.
We're not really past that though, are we?
Yeah, we are. We're in the Sweet 16. I mean,
it does. Duke does feel a little bit like
they beat
UConn.
a Baylor team that probably
No,
would
I know.
have finished 4th or 5th in the ACC.
But they feel a little bit like that UConn team last year.
Yes.
Because you're just waiting for that surge to come. You're just waiting for them. You know, there was a point in this game. Baylor hits a 3. They go up 24-23, and they are playing really, really well.
Yep.
And we're sitting there like, I think the Bears might. Is this a live dog?
Right.
Like, are we going to get another great game?
Cooper Flag's got a scratched cornea.
Yeah.
Can't even see.
And then, but it's not like
against Buster Douglas.
John. But it's not even like what happened after that was this huge run where they started banging threes. No, it's just
leaned on.
Rob, I have a present for you. I have a present for you right now. There you go.
Yeah, I need that.
I know.
I'm struggling.
Grab one of them.
There was too much
Show
yelling.
people what I'm giving you.
It's
exactly
Halls.
what you need.
It's Halls. I need it bad.
Right.
Shout out to Ryan Peden.
Halls.
Yeah, Halls.
What a great
Cherry Halls.
gift.
Ryan Peden right there. There you
It's like
go,
our
buddy.
Christmas bonuses.
Greatest thing I've ever given him.
It's like our field of 68 Christmas bonuses. But yes, it was a great day for the SEC. There's no question about it. I'm sure Greg Sankey is popping a bottle tonight.
No, he should be. He should be. You know, the teams that were supposed to advance for the most part advanced, right? I mean, Arkansas
was not supposed to advance.
No, but if we had said
they were supposed to win any game
based on talent,
but
they're as good. They're
They
as
were
good.
10 seed.
They peaked at the right time. They're playing really
Ole Miss
well.
was not supposed to be in the Sweet 16. They're a 6 seed.
But it's not shocking. It's not
They
shocking.
were an underdog in both games.
What I'm saying is
underdog in both games.
most of the really good teams advanced. The bottom teams didn't, which is what we said all along, right?
Nobody would have had Ole Miss
those
and Arkansas
bottom
in the Sweet 16.
teams.
Nobody.
The Oklahomas, the Texas.
I have them in my bracket, sir.
The Georges.
I have Ole Miss in my bracket. What are you talking
Fine,
about?
but I'm saying at large, nobody would have had Ole Miss or Arkansas both in the Sweet 16.
I don't think a lot of
And
people
Kentucky.
had Arkansas.
Everybody loved it against Kentucky against Illinois.
That's true.
There's not a living, breathing
lot of
human
teams,
being
yeah.
in Mandalay Bay that bet Kentucky today.
That was because I was at the Aria when I bet them, right? Because I was at the Aria when I bet them.
You didn't have Kentucky.
We're not going to ask you about your track record of gambling while you're here.
You're 4-76 this weekend.
No, I made a pretty good comeback, and then I listened to you on New Mexico money line, and it all went downhill from there.
Anyway, listen.
It all went downhill from there.
Big day, lots of action. Sweet 16 is set. We have a few more matchups to preview. Big day. Stick with us here. Field of 68 after dark.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today.
People have opinions about me, strong ones. Some compare my brand to the competition and call me a copycat. Some say that I'm just watered down, that I fall flat. I've heard it all. But the people who get me, they say I'm different, subtle, but balanced. Nothing to hide, nothing artificial. And once they give me a chance, they keep coming back for more. For more dab water. That's right, I'm talking about dab water, and I swear by it. No bubbles, no fizz, just a smooth, refreshing canned cocktail made with real tequila. 100 calories, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and gluten-free. Find Dab Water's 4 flavors in an 8-pack variety pack or single flavor 6-packs. Dab Water invites you to enjoy its great lineup of products all tournament long. Take it from me, Jeff Goodman. Sometimes the most polarizing things are the best things. Dab Water, tequila, water, natural flavors.
Welcome back, Filter 68 After Dark here on YouTube. Rob Dosser, Jeff Goodman, John Martin. We talked about the SEC. Florida wins. That means UConn loses. Obviously, it was a valiant effort. They were a 9.5-point underdog, had a chance to win. And Dan Hurley did want to let you know that, for all you Stephen A. Smith wannabes, never will be's.
I'm a Skip Bayless one.
Skip Bayless, sorry. Skip Bayless. Yeah, you never will be. You never will be. But I think it's an interesting sort of time, an interesting sort of inflection point for UConn basketball because, Don McClingan and Tristan Newton are gone, and this was I guess it was a down year relative to what they had been doing. So what does the future look like for UConn basketball, Rob?
I think it looks bright. I think it looks like why wouldn't it?
But does it look like a national contender consistently, or does it look closer to what we saw this season?
I think it looks like a national contender moving forward because I think that they're going to have the funding and the money that you need to be able to spend. And I don't think that one season where you don't live up to expectations is going to change the ability of this staff to identify players and recruit. And I think that as long as you keep bringing in talent, as long as you're able to develop that talent, and as long as you have a coaching staff that knows how to run offense, I think you're going to be able to win a lot of basketball games, right? To me, part of the reason they were able to be in this game was the game plan that they had. Like it was, I was telling you this before, it was like playing against a football team that only wants to run the ball and runs the play clock down every single time, right? It takes the momentum out of the game. It takes the air out of the game. It makes it difficult for you to be able to get any kind of momentum, anything going on, any confidence going on. It takes you out of your rhythm. And combine that with the fact that they run all of this off-ball stuff and confuse teams, they're always going to be a nightmare in the tournament because they're impossible to prep for on short rest, on 36 hours.
So when I think of this program now and Dan Hurley, I say to myself, I think as long as he keeps his staff, I think his staff is super important for Dan Hurley because Kamani Young and Luke Murray, Luke has worked for Dan before. Mm-hmm. They know him. I think if you start bringing in guys that don't know Dan Hurley, this could go badly. But they know what type of player. Now, they made a little bit of a mistake on Abe Mahaney, let's be honest. But for the most part, they've recruited, whether it's to the portal or high school kids, the type of players that fit Dan Hurley, right? Mm-hmm. And to me, if staff changeover is important, can you keep those guys? Are they getting head jobs? Who do you replace them with? But I think it's not so important to be able to evaluate not only how good the player is,
the humans,
how it fits with Dan Hurley. Because let's face it, a lot of players can't handle playing for Dan Hurley.
A lot of coaches can't handle coaching for Dan Hurley. It's just it's intense. There's a level of expectation that is exceptionally high in that program every single day. It's not just going to the games and executing. You got to do it in practice too. And like Mahaney was a miss. We've all kind of accepted that at this point, right? But I would just say that before Cam Spencer entered the portal in like June last year, Nick Timberlake was a guy they were going to bring in.
Right.
And
he
ended up being a miss for Kansas. Right. So it's
really hard in this portal era. Okay, so to evaluate the players because it goes quick.
Mhm.
And if you miss on like your A guy, all right, who's B, C, D? What are the next options? And when you get to that point, sometimes you don't have all the information on those guys.
Yes.
So it's really difficult, and that's where I think there's going to be a lot of this
Well, if you
for
look
every
at-
program, not just UConn, not just Kentucky, Arkansas, whoever it is. I don't think you're going to see the same level of consistency with programs that we have seen for 20, 30, 40 years.
And to that point, if you look at the freshmen that this staff has recruited, the number of their hit rate is as high as anybody in college basketball. The freshmen that have come in and been impactful and developed and grown in this program. The transfers are not at the same hit rate because they don't have 3 years to figure out which one of these
Who are they?
people can fit with what we need to be able to do.
Sometimes you're just scrambling. And when you try to get all the information you can, you're calling other coaches. And unless you know them super well, they're going to lie to you. They're going to lie to you if you ask them, hey, what about this kid? How good a kid? Well, they're not going to throw him under the bus if they don't know you well.
Yeah.
Or if they want him back, they're going to say, yeah, he's a shithead.
Yep.
Right? Like if you want to play what you –
I think UConn, again, I would absolutely say if you put a gun in my head, what's UConn going to look like in the next 3, 4, 5 years? I would say yes. I think they're going to be more Final Four contender most of those seasons. But I think there'll be a one-off, another one-off like this year.
Yeah, of course. It's going to programs are going to be much more turbulent in this era of college basketball than they've been in the past. And that's not a UConn thing, that's a college basketball thing.
Yeah. Well, it'll certainly be it'll be interesting to see sort of where they go. All right, what's next? What else do we need to hit today?
We finally had a buzzer beater, John.
Yes,
we had a buzzer beater.
We sure
and
did.
you don't even want to talk about it.
I really don't. I feel sad.
All right, if you don't want to talk about it, that's okay because we don't need you to talk about it. You know why? Because we caught up with Derik Queen himself. We were able to interview the man that hit the game-winning shot, the first buzzer beater we had in the 2025 NCAA Tournament.
All right, now pleased to be joined by the first guy of the tournament who delivered a buzzer beater. We finally got our buzzer beater, and it was Maryland big man Derik Queen. Derik, take me through that play and the fact that generally you're not giving it to a big man, Derik, for the game winner to put it on the floor and drive. All right, like tell me a little bit about how you got the ball, how you convinced Willard to give you the ball in that situation.
Coach, I mean, first I want to say, Coach Willard, like when we was in the huddle, he was drawing up a play. He asked who wanted the ball, and I started screaming, telling him, "Give me the ball." And then for me to put the ball on the ground and make that tough of a shot, like that's a lot of hard work I've been doing since I've started playing basketball. Like all bigs shouldn't be playing like on the block and stuff. Like the game is evolving, so like we shoot threes, dribbling, and that's what I just been trying to perfect my game in.
How big was this win, Derik? I mean, get you to the Sweet 16. You had a great regular season. People have been talking about the Crab Five. I mean, that's been the big thing, right? The Crab Five, and now you guys are headed to a date with #1 Florida. How much does this mean to you and the team?
I mean, so it means a lot because there's been like a lot of noise talking about Coach Willard and what he doing for the future, and then back to the seniors. So they didn't want this to be their last game, and so we just kept fighting, and then we pulled out the win.
Yeah, has it been a distraction at all? Because I know, again, like you referred to the noise of Kevin Willard and Villanova and all this stuff. How much have you talked about it, or you just ignore it?
Yeah, I mean, the second day it came out, he had cleared it up and just gave us. He talked about what he was doing and what needed to be done.
Derik, how do you celebrate this one? You got a few days off before you get the Gators, who are probably as hot as any team in the country.
First, go get a good meal, and just prepare because we have 4 days or a couple days just to prepare for them, a really good basketball team. So we're just gonna prepare and just we're gonna celebrate just for the night, but tomorrow is traveling and back to business.
All right. So if you could have any meal to celebrate, not necessarily the meal you're gonna have tonight because you may be a little bit limited, but if you could pick any meal to celebrate with, what would it be?
So my favorite restaurant is Ruth Chris, a bone-in filet. I'm sorry, bone-in filet. medium well, with sweet potato casserole and French fries.
Hey, the good thing, Derik, with the NIL you got this year, you can afford it, right? I mean, that's the good thing with NIL this year is you come in as a freshman. One more thing before I let you go. What's the one thing that you guys have to focus on now as you move forward and really work on if you guys want to make a Final Four run here?
First, just keep doing what we was doing good all season. Just rebound as a collective, defending as a collective, and just keep trusting the coaches and trusting the game plan, and just keep going out there and execute.
All right, there you have it. The hero of the day, Derik Queen. We needed the buzzer beater, and you provided it. So good for you. Congrats, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Hi, Rob. Was it a travel?
Yes, it was a travel. I don't think you are ever going to see that get called in that spot in any basketball game. And to me, complaining about that travel getting called is akin to complaining about someone not getting called for a carry at the end of a close game. Like, it is accepted that you can have that gather step and then take the 2 steps in college basketball. It's not in the rules. Gather steps don't exist. They are not allowed in college basketball, but we don't call it that way. We haven't called it that way, and I don't think you're ever going to see that called a different way.
I think I was just so shocked to see Derik Queen get the ball, a big like that. I mean, when do you see that?
He's their best player.
He's
their best player.
But I get it. Okay, your best player is a big. You're going to throw him the ball down in the post. You're not going to have him face up and drive. You're going to have Gillespie do that. You know, somebody else do that. But sure, he's your best player. Yeah. But that's not who I thought was going to get the ball time and score in that situation.
Right.
Well, the capper on that is that Derik Queen beat King James in that game. Did you even hear what I said, John?
Yeah, I heard it, and I feel sick about it. I thought Nico and the Colorado State,
they had it.
I thought they played an amazing
Jalen
game.
Lake, great
I
shot.
Really did. I mean, as 8.5-point underdogs, like I really did. I thought.
By the way, Jeff, your Caleb Love slander's gone.
It's really like
he's been unbelievable tonight.
Like that shit is so old. You know,
how many points did he have last game?
2022.
What did he have last game, Rob? Look it up.
I don't know. I don't know how many points.
I'm asking Rob.
I mean,
look up what he had.
I'm
looking
it up.
Be the best player every single game. I mean, can you? Unless you're, LeBron James.
No, I've always said Caleb Love, if he plays 6 tournament games, is going to have 3 really good ones and probably 3 not so good ones.
Yeah.
That's just what you get with Caleb Love, and that's fine if you can withstand it. You need enough around him to withstand it. They didn't have that a year ago.
All right. Well, we're saving this because we have to talk about Maryland. Maryland's going to the Sweet 16. I felt Nico, coached an amazing game. I thought that Colorado State team deserved to be in the Sweet 16. Sometimes that's the brutality of it, is that the deserving team doesn't move on. I mean, they were the better team for, I would say, 98% of the game. They lose because they don't have NBA talent the way that Maryland has NBA talent, Jeff.
They also didn't have NBA size like Maryland has because you saw at the end of the game, Julian Reese get that monster rebound.
Yeah.
An absolute monster rebound. And that's where Maryland obviously has a major advantage and had a major advantage in this game. But Nick Clifford was awesome. Jalen Lake made a huge shot. Give Nico Medved and Colorado State a ton of credit because they lost Isaiah Stevens, one of the best players in program history, and were able to do what they did this year, get hot at the end, second half of the year. They were as good as any team in the Mountain West. But, Maryland's got guys. Selton Miguel made some big-time shots in that second half to kind of keep them in it.
And now they get a date with Florida.
I'm pretty sure they shot like 84% from 3 in the second half.
Who, Maryland?
Maryland, yeah. It was unbelievable.
Every single one where you're like, ooh, that's a big one.
I mean, they're all big. Again, credit to Maryland for making those shots. I mean, this is – and I want to just kind of – this was the starting 5 that everybody said analytically it's the best starting 5 in the entire Milky Way galaxy.
Is that what they said?
Who
said that?
I think
is that Ken Palm?
Right? No, it's just the whatever
whoever
analytics.
Whoever agrees with that, sentiment, whatever site. We'll just go with that.
Did he pull out his Torvik and figure that out, or no?
No, I think I pulled out my Evan Maya.
I think it is. I mean,
I think I pulled out my Evan Maya.
yeah. So
they are good though.
they're moving
Listen,
on.
that starting five is fun to watch.
As you said, Florida. They get Florida. They're rewarded with a date against Florida, who, they have size to match. We shall see.
Their starting five matches up. It's whether their bench. Florida's deep enough. That's where they have a major advantage.
That's exactly right. And I think, from that perspective, that is where you would look at Florida and say, I think they're favored. They're their 6-point favorite. This is where you could see them maybe wearing them down.
Yeah, and I think it's the same kind of style of play. Two bigs, one a little bit more of a playmaker, one a little bit more low post, 3 guards around the outside. And I think Florida rolls in this one. Maybe it's just me. I think that it's strength on strength. And Florida just has better players at those positions.
Yeah. It's hard to step in front of Florida at this point. What else? What else have we not touched on?
Tom Izzo's in the Sweet 16.
Tom Izzo is back, baby. Every official in the nation rejoices. They get to officiate one more game of Tom Izzo. It's like Christmas. Now, are you going to remove me from the group chat again?
I might.
I
might do that.
You don't think Michigan State
take that fake necklace too?
Fake. Take it any jeweler in the city. They'd be like, damn, what rapper do you know?
What is that worth? $4.99 from the
What rapper do you know, Jeff Goodman?
See, I used to see those in the old those old gumball machines.
Look,
when I was a kid, I don't know if they still have them.
Yeah,
but that's where you find that chain.
Rich Pitino, I feel for you, big dog. I know what you're thinking. I feel for you, big dog. He doesn't want to say it. Every time I bring up officials in any game, he wants to take me out. He wants to say you're no longer on the air at Field of 68. I thought New Mexico.
It's a cop-out.
No, it's not. I thought they got a shitty whistle tonight. I thought New Mexico had a shitty whistle tonight. Nelly Jr., Joseph, yes, some of those were some of those were, bad decisions, but I don't know. I thought some of those were so ticky-tack that, most teams, the 10th seed, of course, they go against. And Michigan State, is moving on. They played well enough to win.
But like Michigan State this was the quintessential Michigan State game, right? Like, it wasn't like they did anything that pretty. It wasn't like they were out executing anyone. There was a level of effort involved. There was a level of physicality involved. They beat him up on the boards. And then Jay Nakins, that 3 that he hit when it was tied at 51 from the top of the key, like the New Mexico plays 28 seconds of great defense. Jay Nakins plays with the ball, step back 3. It's over True Washington.
Yep.
And he hits it. And that was the
That's
moment.
True.
And at the other end was a turnover. And they come down and get an and one.
That was not an official situation. They made the shots. They've been doing this shit all year.
What I like about this Michigan State team is that they can have a game like they did from Jace Richardson tonight and still win. Yeah. And that's the beauty of this team, right? They have enough good players.
Yeah.
Jay Nakins is capable.
Yep.
Fears is capable. You see enough guys, even, Fiddler made a big shot tonight.
The Fiddler.
So I think, again, you get the bad Jace game out of the way maybe tonight. And the bigs they're not going to blow you away, but you know what? They do it by committee. They're good enough. And Tom Izzo gets back to the Sweet 16 when a lot of us question whether he would ever be relevant enough to,
a
lot of us question whether or not he would play or coach again after this season. Like, that was something we talked about a little bit before the year. Now, it wasn't you, but it was us all. I wasn't referring to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to throw him under the bus who I was referring to. I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
But where's your Florida shirt?
It was Randolph Childress.
I don't think the bet was, hey, put the shirt on for 5 seconds. Do you?
Who? For the Florida shirt?
What kind of bet would that have been?
Don't worry about me, John.
He doesn't pay his bets. He only pays like a quarter of his bets.
Hey, look, if that was true, then I'd be leaving Vegas with a lot more money.
First of all, terrible bet, whoever made it. It's got to wear it for the whole show. Got to wear it for the entire show. But, Michigan State is just one of those teams, they kind of remind you of, in the NFL sense, the Chiefs. They have the help from the officials. And you're just like,
just win every close game.
Yeah.
Seriously. You look back and you're like
that.
Gets to the end, they're going to win.
They win again.
They're going to win.
If it's a close, you got to beat Michigan State by 30 if you want to. You got to be leading by 30 if you want to. Connor knows. Connor's in the back. He knows. So Michigan State is in the Sweet 16, and I think for the most part, it's been the elite teams. It's been the top seeds all season long.
Well, one we haven't talked about is Duke's win over Baylor.
we touched on it a little bit, and maybe we can do that when we get back.
Right.
We're going to take a break, get to Duke a little bit, and
You got another bathroom break?
Sort of spin it forward. No, I think I'll be able to handle this one. We'll
All
be
right.
back. Field of 68 after dark.
Owning property in the state of Texas is difficult enough. Paying taxes on your property should not make your life any more complicated. Ownwell believes that when it comes to paying property taxes, you should only pay what's fair. In under 3 minutes, you can sign up and have their team of Texas experts start saving you money without a single upfront cost. It's easy. When you sign up, you get an instant estimate of the tax savings they can get you so that when that property tax bill comes due, the amount that you have to fork over to Uncle Sam isn't quite as painful. Put property tax money back in your pocket in just minutes. 86% of customers receive a reduction with an average savings of more than $1,100. Imagine how much less stress you'll have in your life knowing that you could take some of the money that you have earmarked for the IRS and spend it on, I don't know, an 85-inch flat screen to watch March Madness. The deadline to protest is May 15th for most Texas counties. Sign up in less than 3 minutes and start your protest today at ownwell.com/CBB. That's OWNWELL.com/CBB. Now is your chance to prove you're smarter than the field of 68. We're hosting a Survivor contest with our partner Splash Sports. There's a $25 entry fee, a 25 entry max in the contest, and more than 1,700 spots available, which means there's a $40,000 max prize for the winner. Survivor is the future of March Madness. Each day you pick a team to win. If they win, you advance. We'll also be running a free to enter bracket contest as well as a second chance Survivor in the Sweet 16. So prove you know more ball than the field of 68 on Splash Sports.
Welcome back, Field of 68 after dark here on YouTube. Sweet 16 is set. And, of course, one of those games, one of those teams is the Duke Blue Devils. They've been destroying.
The Sweet 16 is not set yet.
Oh, excuse me. We have one more game.
I keep saying that.
I keep fast forwarding.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Tommy Lloyd.
I mean,
The
come on.
Biddler has something to say about that, doesn't he?
Nate Biddle. Huge basket. It's now 80-78.
I'm surprised you can even see without your glasses that far.
No, that's a big TV. I mean, we're here.
It's not big enough. It needs to be bigger. The Sweet 16 is not set. We have one more game that'll decide it. Arizona's up 80-78 with what, 49 seconds
49
left?
seconds.
Short one team. Duke's going. Shocker. Stop me if you heard that before. Duke's going to the Sweet 16, and like you said, Rob, it was early. It was a game that Baylor was they threw the first couple of punches, but man, the way that Duke it was a barrage. It was just a storm, and it wasn't like you said of some magical three-point run. It was just what they are and what they do. Wow. Going crazy in the Mandalay.
Is that a turnover on Oregon over there? Yeah.
Arizona turns it over.
Arizona
Melting
turns it over.
down.
Look, what?
You're like a masochist. You just love it. You love to see your alma mater.
Oh, I'm
This shit
just saying, they're melting down right now.
melting down.
They are.
One turnover. They're melting down.
No,
What Duke can do though is similar to what UConn could do last year, where they just execute so well that they will go on these surges where it's like 16-3, and it's not a run. It's not like it's a dunk, it's a steal, it's a layup, it's a steal, it's a three, like that, right? It's just possession by possession. You just can't score, and they just go get a dunk every single time. They go get a layup every single time.
Yeah.
Tyrese Proctor knocks out an open three. It's like a war of attrition every single time you have to play against them. And they have pros up and down the lineup. And they're doing it all without Malik Brown still. I have a very hard time seeing how teams can beat them. Now, to your point, we still have to see them against like SEC
good
talent.
Teams.
And not good teams, just
Great teams.
They did
Great
lose to
teams.
Kentucky in the
But
second game, third game.
I don't know, man. I'm as confident in this Duke team as I was in last year's UConn team.
I get it. I get it.
Wow, that's a big statement. I will say this.
I do get it.
I just had visions of Tyrese Proctor coming into the tournament from a year ago in that NC State game, and he was atrocious. Didn't make a shot. And now I watch him today, and I'm like, all right, this is the best thing that could have happened to Duke. He was, 7 for 8 or something from three tonight? He didn't miss. That is huge for his confidence. And, again, if Duke's going to win it all, they're going to need Proctor to be really good.
Yeah, by the way, Oregon and Arizona, it's like an old classic Pac-12 battle.
It is. I'm excited for this right now.
This is great.
The ending's
You don't
Dana
think,
Altman,
I mean,
Tommy Lloyd.
You don't think the committee just when they were like doing the bracket, they were like, can we just revive this Pac-12,
Hey,
right? I mean,
rivalry.
they know what's up.
I am so tired of official every single time the ball goes out of bounds in the final 2 minutes of a close game. Let's go review it. Let's go review. Make
Lot
a
of
call
reviews,
and
Rob.
stick with it. Make a call
I
and
mean,
stick
if
with
they
it.
don't finish this soon, we both know this is late Robbie Hummel time right now. I mean, he's not going to have enough gas left in the tank to finish this if they
don't
keep
finish
doing the
this game
reviews.
soon, neither of you clowns is going to make your flight.
Hey,
Good
all
point.
right, let's go. Let's go down the order. Right now, you got to call it. Who is the favorite to win the NCAA tournament today?
Duke. Duke.
It is Duke.
Duke is the favorite.
It is Duke.
Absolutely. I don't know. We could probably
It,
see
it,
the
it, I
odds.
mean, it is scientifically
I'm not talking about betting favorite. I'm saying who do you think
Duke.
is
Well,
the?
I mean,
you
I'd
think
still
Duke's the
say
best
Duke.
team?
Absolutely.
You
But with
flip
that-
from Duke from Florida to Duke.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, because I have 2 games of data now with Florida in the tournament where they kind of messed around, and I saw Todd Golden's face. Like Todd Golden looked like he saw a poltergeist in his hotel room last night. I mean, Todd, are you all right, man? Like, he was a little nervous, you know. So I don't think the pressure is off of him. I know that he needed to show that he could win a tournament game and get to, but they're still the 1 seed, you know, and they still have to, you know, show that they can keep winning. Get into the Sweet 16 as a 1 seed is not the end game. So I still worry a little bit about Florida now that it's not so freewheeling, it's not so loose. You know, the games are tightening it up a little bit for them.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm there too, and I think that they were a little bit nervous. But I said this before. I think with Florida, every team that wins a title, it feels like they always have one game where they escape, right? There's one game where they play like shit, or they get nervous, or they don't live up to their expectations.
John, he'd say they escaped against Norfolk State.
No,
they did.
They didn't escape against Norfolk State because they didn't cover. Remember, Robert Jones told us they didn't cover. So I think every team that makes a run, it feels like has a game like that. And I think that Florida got that game out of their system. And I'll be interested to see how they play next week. Like, what happens if they go up against Maryland and they get down 12-4 in the first half?
Yeah.
Does that same stuff? Do you start seeing them missing free throws? Do you start seeing them making some of the mistakes that they made on the weak side of the floor? To me, that's the big question now.
Yeah, it's a good question. All right, there was some news today. Rodney Terry was. It all happened the same day. It's just crazy how it all.
The ways have been parted.
Yeah.
Between Texas and Rodney Terry.
Yeah, Rodney Terry's out.
The ways have been parted.
Yeah, Rodney Terry's out. Sean Miller. I don't know if that was made official.
It is not
official. Okay, so can you update us on where that stands at Texas?
Yeah, so the decision, the way that Chris Del Conte, the Texas AD, does things is he doesn't officially part ways with anybody in any sport for the most part until he's already got his next guy.
Yeah.
So the decision had already been made a few days ago with Rodney Terry, but officially he told him earlier today. And then reports from the Austin American-Statesman and others in the Texas group over there said that Sean Miller was going to be the guy, and it's done. My sources say it was not quite done as of earlier this evening, but it is headed that way, likely to be Sean Miller. Now, remember a couple years ago when Rodney Terry went in, before he went in the Elite Eight run, Chris Beard was fired. Rodney Terry took over on an interim basis, went in an Elite Eight run, kept the job. Before that, Sean Miller was done. He was going to be the guy 2 years ago. So Chris Del Conte knew already. He liked Sean Miller, wanted Sean Miller, and now it is likely that he will get Sean Miller as the next coach at Texas.
Here's my question to you, Jeff. And it belongs in the same conversation with Ryan Odom and going to Virginia and leaving VCU. Is Texas a better job in the next 3 years in basketball than Xavier is? On the one hand, at Xavier, you don't have to compete with football for resources, for attention, for recruiting dollars, for NIL, for anything from rev share, right? You don't have to deal with any of that. You're one of the best jobs in your league in terms of what the resources that you can have provided for you. You are in a conference where 5 teams made the NCAA tournament in the Big East this year. Who knows how long River Pitino is going to be there, right? It's much easier to finish near the top of the Big East than it is to finish near the top of the SEC. Now, the counter is you could go 6-12 in the SEC and make the NCAA tournament
this year.
So I do believe there's a valid argument to make that Xavier is a better job right now as in the basketball world than Texas is. Do you agree with that?
I don't think so. I understand what you're trying to say because ultimately, one thing that you can do at Xavier is with revenue sharing coming in, you don't have to worry about football money.
Yep.
Okay, so you're going to get $20.5 million. You could, in theory, use $8 million if you want to, if you're at Xavier. At Texas, you have $20.5 million. A couple million is going to go to scholarships of all the other teams. You're down to $18 million. I don't know, 50%. Let's say it's $3 million in revenue sharing. Well, that's a big disparity. Now you can make up for it. You can raise some of that extra money, especially this year. You don't know what it's going to look like here in coming years. I just feel like if you're Sean Miller, you're thinking to yourself, I never got to a Final Four at Arizona. I was close. He went to, I think, 3 Elite Eights. I think he thinks at Xavier, it's tough. It's tough to go to a Final Four there. Really tough to win a national title. At Texas, they have resources. Will they use them? And that would be my thing to Sean Miller, who I haven't talked to today. But, hey, Sean, are they going to devote the resources to basketball, or are you going to get there and it's going to be all about football?
Well, that's going to be the problem, is I think it's going to be all about football. And you talk about, well, you get $3 million, but you got to raise some money. What Texas boosters are going to give money to the basketball program?
Matthew McConaughey.
Does he care?
I don't know.
Kevin Durant. Is he going to? Does he
want
want
to figure it out?
Does he want to fund it? That's the thing. You have the money there at Xavier, and I don't know. I don't even know if what I'm arguing I actually believe.
Would you rather live in Austin, Texas, or Cincinnati, Ohio?
Probably Austin, Texas. But here's the other angle of it, Jeff, is that I don't think we will actually have an answer on this until we get clarity on how revenue sharing is going to work in collegiate athletics.
All right. Listen. You guys can argue about this on a different platform. I don't have time for it. I've got a minute left, and I want to do some toast of the night presented by Dad Water. And I'm going to start with Rob Doster. Who gets your toast of the night?
My toast of the night is going to go to Walter Clayton. He stabbed me in the heart.
Classic.
He broke my heart.
Classic.
Congrats, Walter. Go win this whole thing now. You're going to do this? Go win it all.
You could never imagine being as classy as Doster was.
I gave mine to John Calipari last night. What are you talking about?
You gave Penny Hardaway a toast after he lost. You're a real dick.
All right, I'm going to Derik Queen. To Derik Queen, you delivered the moment that this tournament really needed. A buzzer beater, a shot that everybody will remember because there wasn't one going into that game.
And the Terps are back in the Sweet 16, baby.
Terps are back. Toast to these two guys to the left and right of me. They have built the best college basketball media network on the planet, and they've given me a chance, and I am forever grateful for that. So it's been a fun week out in Las Vegas. Love you guys, too. Thank you for having me. We'll be back, of course, this week, previewing the Sweet 16. Don't go anywhere. For Jeff Goodman, for Rob Doster, from Las Vegas, I'm John Martin. Have a great night.
I have been looking for the best deal on March Madness tickets, which is why I want to give the sponsor of today's show, SeatGeek, a huge shout out. SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app with over 28 million downloads and more than 70,000 events available. Now that March Madness is here, SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated so you know if it's a good deal with that little green dot, and it's backed by a buyer guarantee. You can get 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek with code FIELD-of-68. That's code FIELD-of-68. I want my home to feel like my home. So whether I'm looking for big furniture, just a small piece for my place, or maybe some storage solutions for the basement or the garage, the answer is Wayfair. Seriously, I needed a new patio set and fire pit for my backyard. I bought it on Wayfair. It looks great on our deck, and it gives me an excuse to fire up the smoker, invite some friends over, crack a couple beers. Just last week, I bought a new chair for my office, someplace comfortable to sit while the madness takes up the 4 screens in front of me. I got it on Wayfair, clicked a few buttons. A couple days later, it showed up at my front door. They even offered to help set it up for you. Digging through online stores can be intimidating. Trust me, I know. It can be hard to find what you're looking for in your price range, but not on Wayfair. They have great options, even if you are balling on a budget like me. Wayfair has every style for every home, including mine and yours. So head to wayfair.com and shop everything home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
We're live. It's the afters.
Hit the chat.
I'm not getting close to any bear.
My career high on the court is 28.
Out of there.
Welcome into the afters here from Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. And barring an absolute miracle, Arizona, Tommy Lloyd, Caleb Love are packing their bags, and they're going to the Sweet 16 with a rematch against the number 1 seeded Blue Devils. Jeff Goodman, Rob Dawson, John Martin. Let's get into the Sweet 16 a little bit. The highest total in the history of college basketball, Thursday, March 27th. By the way, do we have a total for that? It's got to be out today, right?
Yep.
What is it?
I'll look it up. You keep talking.
I need you to look it up.
342 points.
376 million and a half. BYU, Alabama, Maryland, Florida, Duke, Zona, Arkansas, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Michigan State, Kentucky, Tennessee, Michigan, Auburn, Purdue, and Houston. So when you sort of hear those matchups, Jeff Goodman, which one are you most excited to watch?
I mean, I think it might be Florida, Maryland for me.
Okay.
I think that's going to be a hell of a game. Maybe the most exciting game. To me, it's that region. San Francisco, Florida, Maryland, a team that a lot of us thought could win the whole thing going into the tournament here. And Maryland, who's got a lot of power at the top. And then you got Arkansas against Texas Tech. How much longer can Cal keep this thing going? Because right now, that might be the number 1 storyline right now in the tournament. Can they beat Texas Tech and then get a date with maybe the Gators? Who knows? Maybe Maryland. Could they go to the Final Four in a year in which, they were, 2 weeks away? Like 2 weeks before the season ended. They lost to South Carolina on the road by 30. They got mollywopped. We were talking about them potentially not getting into the NCAA tournament at that point. And that was real. That wasn't anybody saying, like, if they hadn't done well in the SEC tournament, if they had lost to South Carolina the first game of the SEC tournament,
Amazing.
It would have been a real sweat.
They might have been
It would have been a real sweat because they might have been the one that got chopped for North Carolina.
Yeah, and they lived and died in that game about 50 different times.
Yep.
I mean, it was absolutely nuts. Yeah. Look, I know that we love upsets in college basketball, and I really don't love them that much in the tournament. I love 16 over 1 for a round. That'll get me going.
It would have been nice.
I don't want 14, 15s, and 16s in the Sweet 16. I want the best teams, the best players, and the best coaches when it matters the most. I know I might be in the minority on that, but that's what we have this year.
No,
right?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
You know what the thing is this year? I didn't think about this. Whoever wins the whole thing isn't going to have a cupcake slate to get there, no matter what. No matter what.
I mean, again, the worst team in the field.
No, I'm not
by
saying
seed.
UConn had it. I'm not taking a shot at your UConn Huskies there.
I know.
I'm just saying.
I know. I didn't
That's
think
what you're. But
I didn't think you were. It's just
what?
It's just you win a national. There's no cupcake runs to a national title.
Sometimes you get an easy
get
game
breaks.
in that
you totally get
second
breaks.
round.
Yeah, you totally get
You
breaks.
might get an easy road.
The lowest.
Okay.
The lowest.
I get what you're saying.
Seriously, the lowest team in the Sweet 16 from KenPom ratings is Arkansas.
Right.
They're also the lowest.
That's not
seed.
easy.
Yeah. I mean, and then the next closest is BYU, who's 24th in KenPom.
No matter what, no matter who wins this thing.
Yeah, I mean, they're
going to have a road.
And now listen, what I will say for Doster's, to Doster's credit, the championship doesn't mean any less, nor does it mean any more if your competition was less stiff or it was
Subpar.
tough. Like, give me nothing but double-digit seeds the whole way.
Mhm.
Like I ain't apologizing for shit. All right, like I still got to beat them. Like I can't control who I play. Like, but yes, whoever does win the title this year, is probably going to be able to say they won the hardest field ever.
Yeah.
And that's on the table.
What region are you? If you could pick one to go to right now, what would it be?
Oh, it'd be the West. It would definitely
The
be
West?
It was the most stacked region the whole way. I feel like it's given us the best games, right?
Yep.
I feel like on the whole, it's given us. I mean, honestly, any region that John Calipari is in, I'm going. I mean, in 2025, if John Calipari's in the region, I'm there.
I will say, I love the Midwest. You get Purdue, Houston in Indianapolis.
Yep.
In Lucas Oil.
Yep.
And then you get Kentucky, Tennessee.
That's a fun one.
Where you might actually get more Kentucky fans showing up to Lucas Oil in Indianapolis than Purdue fans.
It won't even be close.
Showing up in Indianapolis.
It won't even be close.
But I'm going to Newark. I'm going to be in the East. I get Duke, Arizona, a rematch of the 1997 title game.
Wow.
99?
That'd be fun.
No, not 99. Rematch of some title game.
I think that's it.
98.
97.
97.
Good memory.
And then you get a matchup that you have called the highest total in the history of college basketball. It's 174.5.
That's it?
How hard are we going to hammer that over? Should we take it right now?
174.5?
Should I take it right now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm taking it right now.
What am I missing? I mean, I don't remember.
Brains, common sense.
I don't remember what the. I don't remember.
Clue?
I lost you, Dagan. I don't remember what the final was today with St. Mary's in Arizona. I know, Alabama. I know that
80-66.
Okay, so they got 146 out of St. Mary's in 2025. I know the total was 149.5, so it technically did go under. But I mean, is anybody going to even bring the ball?
I won
back
that
up
bet.
in this game.
I won that bet.
You won the bet. You saw it. You
I thought it was a loser. I won that bet.
you got
I won that bet.
insanely lucky.
Let's go.
I mean, it took St. Mary's missing like 15 of their first 16 shots from the field. So
Here's
yeah,
what
I'll be on the
looking
over
at
in that
this.
one.
Is there a bad game?
No.
Is there a bad game on? What's the worst game you can find of the Sweet 16? What's the game you really don't like? They're all good. They're all good. You can say, okay, Ole Miss, Michigan State. I'm going to be there in Atlanta. Chris Beard against Tom Izzo.
Yeah.
It may not be sexy in terms of the players for Ole Miss, but Chris Beard, Tom Izzo. That's like an elite coaching matchup.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no lull. I mean,
Auburn, Michigan.
Arkansas, Texas Tech kind of sucks just because of,
What?
It just does. I mean, if you're going to relative to the rest of the rest of the matchups,
because again, people
it's a mostly underachieving Arkansas team against Texas Tech team that's not fully.
But it's the best storyline probably of any one team. It is.
Well, yeah, but
it's the best storyline of any one team. Arkansas, Calipari, Hall of Famer. We wrote him off. He's now in the Sweet 16. They could go to the Final Four. They could win the whole damn thing.
It's the worst game, though.
I don't think it's the worst game.
It's the worst game.
I don't think so.
It is.
I don't think there is a worse game.
The game that has the least pop for me is Michigan State Ole Miss.
That's fine. That's fair.
That was Goodman's favorite.
Duke, Arizona. I think Duke's going to just kind of roll in that one.
Yeah, we kind of already saw that one.
Yeah.
It was at Arizona.
Yeah.
I don't like
They
rematches.
killed.
I don't like rematches in the tournament.
They
it's the way it broke with Kentucky and Tennessee is that they're conference mates, right?
They couldn't do anything about that one.
Yeah, but I do not like regular season rematches in the tournament. I want to see nothing but new, fresh games, with between opponents. So yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Duke, the BYU Alabama is. You're right.
That's the game.
It's a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
The way they're going to play.
100%.
The ball's going to be zipping.
Did you bet it?
Yeah, I took it.
I'm just telling you. I don't know how.
You would if it was 220, you'd still go the over.
I probably would. I'm serious. I mean, I've never seen Alabama bring the ball back to reset on offense. Like they don't know how to do that. And BYU's putting up 90 every damn night unless they're playing Houston. And Alabama ain't Houston.
Kentucky, Tennessee, though, will be fun again.
It'll be fun.
With everything on the line.
It'll be a good time.
I still think Tennessee's a team that we're sleeping on a little bit as a national title contender. I do.
They win boring. They win boring.
Imagine if Rick Barnes won the whole thing this year. Like he's 70 years old, guys.
That's crazy.
He is 70 years old. Imagine if this is the year for him. and he could say, you know what, wins it all and says, bye-bye, I'm done.
Where do you stand on?
He should.
Last thing I want to hit you
He
guys
should.
on, and then we can wrap it up. Last thing,
retire.
and then we can wrap it up and we can get out of here. Arizona just beat Oregon. Arizona's back in the Sweet 16. Caleb Love, I don't have
Goodman just kicked.
It was great.
I don't have the final line in front of me.
He had 29 points, and he was efficient. He had 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers in 37 minutes. It was one of those great Caleb Love performances.
And Caleb Love, North Carolina legend, gets Duke in the Sweet 16 with a chance to end Duke's season. He's ended Duke's season before.
Yes.
So do you think Arizona has any chance in this matchup?
Yeah, they have a chance, but he's got to have one of those games. He's got to have one of those games. He's got to go bullet he's got to have more than 29. He's probably got to have 33, 35 points, and he needs help from his perimeter mates. Jaden Bradley's got to have a big game, and defensively, that's where I worry about with Arizona. Defensively, can they hold Duke in check?
I actually think that they're better defensively than they are offensively right now.
They're better.
I think that they can guard.
But against Duke,
they just let Oregon put up
many
80,
weapons, man. So many weapons.
83, 82, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a chance. I mean, realistically speaking, anything can happen. Like, we could all be struck down by a 15 magnitude earthquake in this, but it ain't gonna happen. So that's
Where's your satchel tonight?
It's over. Last night, no
what
satchel.
happened to your satchel?
I wanted to.
Did somebody steal your satchel?
No, nobody stole my.
Good.
I stayed in last night to make sure that didn't happen. Some of us maybe didn't make that same choice.
I'm told Doster might buy a satchel after watching you this week.
You guys had.
He really might.
You guys had the afters.
Do you
after
think
the
Doster
afters.
would he look good in a satchel?
Rob?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Rob.
No,
Next time he comes out here, needs to be a man and get a satchel.
Okay.
He needs to be a pro.
What do you think, Rob? Could you pull off a satchel?
But yeah,
I think I could pull it off. I don't think I would ever try.
you got to try, man.
You think I can pull off a satchel?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do. But you got to wear it. You can't wear it over your shoulder. You wouldn't look that good. You got to wear the.
That's a fanny pack.
It's not a satchel.
That's a fanny pack.
Yep.
Hey, listen again.
Take us home, John.
This is it. The final sign off from Las Vegas. This has been an amazing week. So much fun. When I told
Are you
people,
gonna cry now?
No, I'm not gonna cry. But when I told people that I was coming out here for the first and second round of the tournament, they said this is literally the best experience you're gonna have, and I can honestly say that they were right. They were 100% correct. This has been an amazing week. So much fun. All the action in the best place to watch it. Obviously our friends at BetMGM and Mandalay Bay and the Flanker. We have the Wanker from Flanker here with us the whole week. So it's been a lot of fun. So for Rob Doster, for Jeff Goodman, one final sign off from Las Vegas. I'm John Martin. Thanks for being with us this week. Have a great night.